Grand Dawn and Great Rising, Cleveland, Ohio, and the rest of planet Earth. Welcome to another edition of 360 Info Network, brought to you by the Cleveland Observer, the voice in the community. We have a great show lined up for you today, and we are going to be welcoming Orlando Watson. He is the executive director of arts engagement and signature events at Tri-C Community College. We are also going to welcome Hamtonio, who is the founder and the co-host of 360 Info Network right here on AM 1490 WERE, the People Station. Today is June 20th, and we have quite a few things that are going on in Cleveland today. It is amazing what Juneteenth has done in the Cleveland community. There is just so much going on. I know that there's going to be something at the Dunham Tavern today. And I think that event goes from 12 to 4 p.m. There are just so many things. I can't really go into them. Also want to give you the lowdown on the Larchmere Cultural Arts Festival. We are going to be doing a festival from July 17th through the 19th at Larchmere Arts. We have a full lineup of guests that will be part of this event, and we definitely want you to know about it. 3 days will include an art exhibition. There's also going to be a digital photography exhibition. We have some authors that will be coming in to talk about their books. Amongst them are Andrea D. Campbell, Alan Neville, Akil Marshall, and Connie Perun. Interesting books. I'm sure you'll want to know all about them. We're also going to have an art exhibition, which will also include a number of artists from Cleveland. We're going to have a film festival, shorts film festival. We're also going to have some theater plays curated by Mary Weems. She's got 3 other playwrights that she's working with, and they're going to be presenting 10 to 15-minute plays on the stage at Larchmere Arts. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. The festival pass will be $25, and it will get you in all of the events over the 3-day weekend. So we're looking forward to having you a part of this festival. It is actually the second festival that we will be doing here in Cleveland, Ohio. So with all of that said, just look forward to getting your invitation to the Larchmere Cultural Arts Festival. Today, we're going to be talking about the Tri-C Jazz Festival. And I'm telling you, 3 amazing days of music. One of the most impressive acquisitions for this festival is Ron Carter. And our executive director, Orlando Watson, is really enthused about being able to bring him to you. So we'll look forward to his conversation about that. We have so much going on, and we're happy to be able to bring these things to you. So, Orlando Watson.
Hey, peace. How's it going?
Oh, it's going quite well.
Good.
Quite
I need to be
well.
landscape, right?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay.
If
All right.
not, don't worry about it. You know,
Okay.
we're moving into a new era of digital television.
Mm-hmm.
And because people spend so much time with content on their telephone devices, video is moving in a vertical direction these
Yeah,
days.
absolutely.
So people are having to adapt and adjust to that.
Yeah, man.
I'm really pleased to have you today, Orlando. You are ushering in the new chapter of Tri-C JazzFest, and they named you the executive director of arts engagement and signature events.
So,
I understand that you were with Tri-C, I believe, from 2019 to 2022 when you were the associate director.
Yeah.
But you went to Pittsburgh, and as I understand it, you did a fabulous job coordinating their jazz festivals and other programming that they were doing at the August Wilson Center. And now you're back in Cleveland. So first question is, how does it feel to be back?
Man, I love Cleveland so much, man. I love Ohio. I'm always talking about where I'm from. Just proud of how I was brought up. I'm proud of the products from Cleveland, Northeast Ohio, which is why I'm really trying to highlight and showcase um, what we can do here, our
Okay.
capability, our sound.
Hmm.
So I'm glad to be back, man. It's been nothing but love.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
let's talk about what the festival is going to consist of this year and talk about how it may be different from some of the other festivals that have taken place.
Oh man, so this year it's a few things that are taking place that is a little bit different. For the first time, we're presenting national artists on the outdoor stage, right? So Friday we have two nationals, Saturday we got two nationals, including Savion Glover and Project Nine, his band, Tito Puente Jr. and Nestor Torres. That's on Friday, and on Saturday, we're doing Weedy Brahma and the Hands of Time, featuring Mumu Fresh and another Cleveland native legend by the name of Nathan Paul Davis. And to close out the show, the festival is Charles Haynes in the Tabernacle, featuring Marquise Hill on trumpet. So really excited about that. I really felt led and compelled to do that to provide access and affordability to patrons in the community. I'm a city boy, man. I grew up Lee and Harvard, 140th, so I understand like not being able to, shell out $100 a ticket, for everything that you might want to see on the inside.
Hmm.
So, and also I wanted to present uh, local artists, local legends indoors. That's hasn't really happened to my knowledge either. So I got Hub's Groove to do opening set for another native who has definitely become a legend over the course of the last few years, Durand Bernarrr. But Hub's Groove is still here, based in Cleveland, Ohio, and they'll be doing a set in tribute to the Levert family. Gerald and Sean Levert, who's been it's been 20 years since Gerald passed. So I was like, man, I called Hub. I was like, can we do a Long Live Levert tribute? He's like, absolutely. So I'm really
Hmm.
excited about that set. I'm really excited to have Durand back home for the first time performing in Cleveland since he received his Best Progressive R&B album. And man, it's so much. Ron Carter is so much. It's so much. So for me, it's imperative that we keep and preserve the foundation, the traditional jazz, your bebop, your swing, big band, all of that stuff. I love it. I grew up playing all of that at Tri-C when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. And here we are. But I'm also I really want to do some jazz adjacent programming as well,
Hmm.
so that's really it, man.
Yeah, and the Tri-C Jazz Fest is something that happens on 3 days during the summer, but you actually have events during the year. Can you talk
Yes.
about some of the other things that you're doing with Tri-C?
Yeah, we have performing arts series. This past performing arts series, which is different times throughout the year, fall and spring semester during the um, academic school year. We had Keon Harold, his band. We had India Owens in a cookout. Um, we had Jose James to close us out a couple months ago. I think that was like in April. I believe it.
Hmm.
Jose was in April. And in March, every year, traditionally, we have something called Downbeat Education Days, to where we include various high schools between Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana to come in to Tri-C and Metro Campus for adjudication. So the students from all over these schools, I think this past year we had 16 schools. Um, 16 or 18. I know is one of them, but we had all of those schools between the various days of downbeat, and just sit with masters and clinicians for one-on-one, for group sessions, and they prepare compositions and arrangements, and it's a beautiful sight to see the next generation coming up and through the ranks of jazz and just art in general.
It really is amazing. I've been able to attend some of the events where I'm just going to call them the young lions.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the high school students. One that stands out in my mind is Nehemiah Baker.
Oh man, it's amazing. Drummer, cold, came through Tri-C swinging.
Yes,
Yeah, man.
yes.
Nehemiah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, what those young people are capable of, and kudos to you for giving them additional opportunity to shine. And also the pivot to bringing national acts outside, was that something that was inspired by what you did in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, yep. You could say that. Pittsburgh Festival, the way it was programmed is everything outdoors is 100% free, as well. And the only thing that is a ticketed event is open at night, and that's inside the August Wilson African American Cultural Center.
Hmm.
But everything else, you see a long list of national artists ripping on stage, man. So I thought, man, we got to bring that same energy like I did
Yeah.
down in Ohio.
Can you talk about what you have done with some of the artists that are coming? I know you mentioned
Mm.
Marquise Hill.
Oh yeah, man. Me and Marquise, I think about 2 years ago, he included me in his performances residency at MIT. Um, Institute of Technology, and that was a beautiful, beautiful collaboration and situation up there. I was afforded the opportunity to do a master class with the students on, writing, songwriting, and poetry composition, just the power of words, right? Um, I worked with Charles Haynes. We've toured with Keon Harold, some mutual friend of ours. Did some studio work together. So a few people on the bill who I've personally worked with as an artist myself. Dominic Farinacci toured the world with Dominic. We started working together in 2017. So we coming up on 10 years of collaboration, his production, Modern Warrior Live, and other various things. Um, Oh, Hub, man. Hub was probably my first collaborator, if you will, right? Um, I used to attend Hubbard School of Music when I was a kid, and Hub was one of my first drum instructors. So he that's where I got my groove from, Hub.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for me, this is just a major full circle moment on various levels in several different ways, man. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it all. I'm looking forward to seeing how this initial year opens the doors for the community and the city, coming years, especially leading up to our 50th in 2029. So, small, meaningful steps is what my supervisor says. And I think we made some major steps this year,
Hmm.
headed in the right direction. So it's really trying to expand the reach, demographic, the audiences, and just provide more,
Hmm.
do just have more community focused and forward engagement. That's really it,
Yes.
man. That's it.
I know over the years, and as I've shared with you on a few different occasions, you're probably tired of hearing me say it,
Uh,
but I've been a fan of the Tri-C Jazz Fest since 1990. I've been very privileged to be able to attend almost every year, with the
mm,
exception of the pandemic years, because
right.
things changed around a little bit. But just based on the history of it and this new direction, do you have any expectations? I know you talked about broadening the audiences and so forth. Do you have any ideas in terms of how much you want to improve things with the numbers?
Oh man. Yeah, I have some insight on that. When I first started, I saw some marketing demographic reports and everything. So I have a pretty um, a pretty comprehensive understanding of how I'm looking to expand that. And we have obviously our debrief meetings a week or two after the festival, get together with the internal team just to see like what worked, what didn't work, what we love, what the community love, what we feel like should stay, and what we can redo. Just for
Mhm.
improvement. Basically like a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, man. So really just trying to strengthen partnerships with other viable and trusted community partners. Um, Obviously it's always sponsorship dollars, things like that, just trying to expand and attract new donors and things like that so we can really blow this thing up and make the goal is, to be completely frank, to make Cleveland and Tri-C a destination festival, a destination event. When you think about Montreux, when you think about Essence, things like that. So that's the way I see it. And I'm just hoping that the city can get on board and get
Yes,
behind it.
yes.
So yeah.
Well, there's no question that arts and entertainment and culture are things that bring people to the city. Along with the Tri-C Jazz Fest, I've been going to Detroit every
Mm-hmm.
Labor Day weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a free festival.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do it.
An
Well,
endowment.
Say what?
It's an endowment. They have one investor she's loaded. she
You're
she
talking
just
about Gretchen Vlad.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
She's doing it from the grave.
yes, sir. There you go. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's
So
what you call old money.
yeah, yeah.
Old money. I
So
love it.
so
So
you're looking to get Key Bank some help.
oh man, as much help as as much help as we can. Key Bank is a very valuable partner. I mean, they present it every year.
Mm,
I don't know how far they go back, but when I first started with Terry back in 2019, they were presenting sponsor then. And I know that wasn't the first year. So Key Bank is in a remarkable partner. It's good people on the staff, man. I met quite a few of them, and it's easy to work with. You know,
mhm.
but yeah.
Okay. So you got the Ohio players
Mm,
that are going to be on the main stage on the last
yes,
night. How
yes.
did that happen?
How did that come about? Oh, I reached out to a mutual friend. I was like, man, I was like, you still keep in contact with Billy Beck? He's like, yeah, man, he's still in Youngstown. I was like, would you mind, connecting us? He passed me his number. Got on the phone with Billy. Bill was like, yeah, cool. But he was like, you need to talk to Diamond. So he gave me Diamond's info. And Diamond and Billy are the last two remaining members of the original Ohio
Mhm,
players. So um I once they agreed to it, I made it up in my mind immediately that I want to honor them with lifetime achievement awards just for their contributions to music. Because I'm a firm believer in give people their flowers, man, while they can smell them. Because we all got about this much time here. We think about the grand scheme of things. So I was like, let's honor the OGs.
mhm,
And just funk everything out of Dayton, Ohio, everything out of Ohio, the Midwest sound, what they have done for music, not just funk, but for music. Um, what
mm.
can you say? What can you say? So yeah.
Well, speaking of OGs, Ron Carter is the most recorded bassist of all
Yes.
time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
know that it was a coup to bring him into this picture.
Oh man. Wait, listen, when his team agreed to it, I was like, oh, this is really happening. That's when it really started clicking, like, oh, there's about to be a festival Ron Carter here.
Mhm,
And that's what I mean with just like the foundation. To me, Ron Carter, anybody who understands what jazz is made up of will understand that Ron Carter is for sure on the Mount Rushmore of not just bassists, but I would say um, composers, just jazz musicians, right?
yeah.
He's one of the last remaining ones with us. Like, um, it seems like people are dropping off left and right, man. So
Mhm,
that's another one. I was like, if we can bring him in, safe and sound, him and his wife, let's do it. And they agreed to it. So I'm looking forward. This will be my first time meeting Mr. Carter. I
okay.
heard him. I heard him for the first time in 2022. Never forget it. He took a solo, man. Cried my eyes out. It was just like this is really OG Ron.
Mm. Yes, yes,
Mr.
yes,
Carter.
yes.
So yeah, beautiful
You
man.
also mentioned Savion Glover, and
Yep.
before we started the broadcast, I was sharing with you that I ran across a video of Stanley Clark and Gregory Hines in Detroit a number of years ago. I saw
Mm.
Savion and McCoy Tyner. So
Mm.
who are you teaming Savion up with in this festival?
So Savion got his own band.
Oh,
He got his own band. He gonna be tapping and he gonna be playing drums.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. That when I reached out, that's not what I was anticipating. But it's like, yeah, we got a whole ensemble situation. He gonna play drums. I was like, oh, let's bring that on over to Cleveland real quick.
Wow,
So,
wow, wow. And
yeah,
then you're kicking things off with Sheila E on Thursday night.
yeah, man. Yeah. Queen, the percussion, glamorous life. She's
Yes.
still she's still ripping, man. I think her birthday just passed, and I know she had a tiny desk recently.
Mhm.
Doing phenomenal, phenomenal. She has the collective. She's bringing a collective, Sheila E, E Train. So really looking forward to that. I feel like that is a beautiful way to kick off the night. With the lady, with a percussionist, with our with affiliate of our Latin community, our Latin brothers and sisters, so I'm really looking forward to how that concert will pull together. That's been our number one seller so far.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm really really looking forward to that. So
Okay.
yeah,
Anyone else you want to shout out? I know there you
Mm,
got a full roster.
man. Dominic Farinacci and John Thomas. I grew up with John Thomas. My first two bands in high school, I played with John Thomas, and we studied at Tri-C together at a summer camp. At summer camp, that's when we really locked in. I was playing drums a little bit, but John, he's been as cold as he is now since he was about 15. So I'm really really proud of him. Just blessed to see where life and his dedication has taken him. Lauren Talese, she's a graduate of Cleveland School of the Arts. She's been living in Philadelphia for the past like 20 or 25 years. She's done some phenomenal work in and throughout Philly, across the world, to be honest with you. I always go on Instagram. She's somewhere else singing or doing some type of master class or clinic. So very proud of her and the work she's done in Recording Academy. We're both in the Recording Academy Philadelphia chapter. Um, Mono Neon.
Mm.
Mono Neon. He's a pure product of Prince and uh, Bootsy, Collins, and Parliament. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Mono Neon. He has
Yes.
like that alternative, experimental funk, do what I want to do when I want to do it attitude.
Hmm.
That boy can write some music, man. So I'm really looking forward to that. I love his outfits too. I couldn't do it. I can't pull it off. The quilts, the highlighter looking quilts, but
Right.
it works for him for sure.
Yes, yes. So just a couple more questions. Let folks know how they can connect, how they can find out everything that's going on.
Oh yeah, for sure. TriCJazzFest.com. Try-C jazzfest.com. All of the indoor and outdoor information is listed there. We have a stage full of outdoor artists, locals, and regional artists as well. Stemming from, I'm sure you know Alvin Frazier. He'll be performing. Dan Bruce, Dre Walton. We have alumni students on our next gen stage, such as Gabe Jones, who is the son of the late Phil Jones, Philip K. Jones. So his son is a phenomenal drummer. I've been knowing Gabe since that boy's probably like 5. He used to sit in on my lessons with Hub, and
Mm.
he used to come in. He used to come in with his own sticks and take over the lesson. And he was playing better than me back then. We was like
Wow.
6, 7 years old. So he has his own band. We got Cameron Burton, who is also an alumni of Tri-C. So really just trying to elevate and highlight, the products of not just Tri-C, but Ohio. But also, one of the reasons I went to Pittsburgh, Vince, was to create a pipeline of entertainment. So between Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Detroit, I kind of want to do like a trifecta, a tri-state, situation. So we're bringing in Anya Nancy, who just released an album called Sounds Like Honey. She's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's got a really, really great sound and amazing pen. Um, Trying to think of who else, man. I'm low key excited to hear everybody, and I'm really more than that. I'm really excited to see the community standing on stage, just seeing people who look like me, who don't look like me, who are from where I'm from, and then just all gather in one place. Because music is a language, man. I ain't got to explain, ain't got to go down that path. You understand? It's a language, and it's a universal language, and you can come from all different types of walks of life, man. But when you hear those notes, hear those chords, man, it's like those walls and those barriers kind of drop down. If even for 3 minutes, man. I feel like we need as much time like that in that flow state in that free space as we can, especially in this you know current climate of economy and gas prices all up and through the roof and groceries and just everything, man. What's going on domestically, what's going on internationally, it's a lot. So we could provide 2-3 days of um, unity and just beautiful music composition. I feel like job well done, and part of my mission is accomplished here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got an early taste of that with the concert that you staged with Keon Harold. When
Mm,
looking back at that, it was a very diverse audience, and it seemed
mhm.
like everybody was locked into the music and getting what he was putting down.
Yep.
So we definitely have that to look forward to. Before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about what you are working on as an
Oh,
artist right
man.
now.
Oh, man. A lot of features coming through. A lot of features. I'm on a couple projects that have yet to be released, but I'm excited about it. So you'll be one of the first people to get that text, like, check this out. But some names you'll definitely recognize, in very in hip hop and jazz, R&B, gospel. So I'm that's really where I like to live, Vince. To be honest with you, in the studio, I'm a lab rat, man. I know you've seen me perform, several times and things like that. And likewise, you're also an amazing writer and a poet yourself.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, man. But I love to write. I love to record. So I'm trying to keep that momentum going, working on my own record. Probably another 2 years before it's out. I'm not really rushed or pressed to, you know. Produce as fast as I used to feel when I was like, my 20s, or coming through college and things like that. I always felt like you had to put a record out, a single out. Now it's just like, man, just get the thoughts, um, massage them a bit. I'm a huge editor. By the time you hear stuff, that's the fifth edition.
Mm.
So
Write
um,
and rewrite.
write and rewrite, man. Write and rewrite. Working on a book. Um, it's pretty much done. It's just unpublished. Just trying to figure out if I want to self-publish or go the submission route and just get picked up by publishers. Pros and cons. That's another conversation. I'm sure we can have offline. You've been there. Just
Yes.
understanding the game, right? So but yeah, man, I'm still writing, still recording. I can't afford as much time as I used to. So when I do have the opportunity to, I have to be a lot more effective and efficient. So I got 2 kids, man, a wife. I think when we first got together, I ain't had no kids. When I first
Mm.
met you, it was at Promise Academy. That's where I first remember meeting you. You were good friends with the principal,
Hmm.
and he brought you in. I was running the social media. That's back when I was in marketing, and we had a nice conversation. You did poetry for the students at Promise Academy, right downtown.
Mark Aiden is who you're speaking
Mark
of.
Aiden, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he actually
Classmate
worked
of
with the
mine
black.
at KSU. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we crossed paths and been connected ever since, man. I love your
Yes.
artwork. Your photography is top shelf, top tier.
Thank you,
I'm
Orlando.
definitely looking forward to collaborating with you in some capacity, sooner than
Okay.
later, man. So,
We'll
yeah, man.
we'll we'll make it happen. Brother Antonio, did you have anything that you wanted to ask Orlando before he goes?
No, it was just wonderful putting, a young brother like this putting all this together like this. It's a beautiful thing, man. So I had to compliment you on that. As you were saying and talking, we always had these conversations about the importance at times of music and how, uh-oh, are y'all still there? Okay, how it
Yeah.
affects the body and things like that. I would just, again, like to have a conversation on here talking about the actual effects of music and why it affects you the way it does. And I think if we had a good understanding, most people, exactly how music and tones and vibrations and I'm gonna always get into the esoteric type of way of of what this is about and how that music just draws you like that and how back in the day our ancestors used it for healing, and how it
Mhm.
heals and how it connects to the organs of the body and things of that nature. So, when you were saying some for that 3 days or that they fill in and coming together, but there's some scientific, you know,
Science.
some science that is related to that and why. So that's why I say I want to get into the why that happens and why does it affects the body and people that way. And I think once we start understanding what is actually going on, then we can maybe tap into some things to keep that vibe going on a daily. You know what I'm trying to say? and putting that type of stuff into our environments and facilities to get people, that might be the bridge to help people, put people in an alignment the way we want to. Once we understand the science behind it, then we can duplicate that in other areas that we be in. You know what I mean? So that's what's amazing to me.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brother Orlando, I know you've got some things to get to. You got children that are calling for their daddy, and we don't want to detain you or prevent them from interacting as they choose. But I want to thank you for joining us today. Looking forward to those 3 days of music in Cleveland, and it will be phenomenal, I'm sure. I think what you are doing, my brother, is raising the bar, creating a new standard and a new paradigm for jazz in Cleveland. And I celebrate you for that.
My brother, I appreciate you both, man.
Yes, sir, my brother.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us on 360 Info Network.
Yes, sir. Peace. See you next week.
Peace. All right, bro.
All right, Brother Antonio, we got quite a mouthful of what's going on. And again, looking forward to it. I don't know who I'm most excited about. I think Ron Carter, even though I've seen him before, it's going to be a great thing to be able to witness his music once again. So I'm looking forward to that. But one thing that Orlando has done is he's created a situation where the folks who live in this town, who have been into jazz all of their lives, now have an opportunity to present their music to the entire of the concert, or the entirety of the festival, and not just the limitations of the outdoor stages.
Yeah, it's always good, you know, and you'd be surprised how much talented locally, that is here, that people have been working on and doing, and actually, collaborated with a lot of national people as well. So it's always a good thing to recognize your own, because a lot of times when we do something locally, sometimes we tend not to get the fanfare that we need, I mean, that is necessary or due, to that particular person, so for him having a venue like that and opening the doors, it's the same thing like, with comedy. When I was doing comedy, doing the circuits, hitting the circuits, and locally, and it's always good to, for the locals to get their just due, so and get recognized in their hometown. So it's the same setup, like,
Yes. We're going to step away for just a moment to acknowledge our title sponsor, which is the Cleveland Observer, and we're going to be right back with more right after this. Stick and stay, and we will be back.
Cleveland just approved $200,000 to address racism as a public health issue. But what exactly does that mean? So in February, City Council introduced funding for the Racism as a Public Health Crisis Coalition, working with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. The goal is to tackle how systematic issues impact the health outcomes across the city. This funding supports programs focused on things like access to health care, community-based resources, and education around long-term health disparities. It's not just about hospitals, it's about things like the environment, access, and opportunity. In many Cleveland neighborhoods, especially Black communities, people experience higher rates of chronic illness and less access to care. So this kind of investment is meant to start addressing those gaps at a deeper level. Now, to be clear, it's not a full solution, but it's a bigger part of an effort to recognize how social issues connect directly to public health. Bottom line, this is where your city dollars are going, and this is why it matters. To read more, visit the Cleveland Observer's legislation section.
All right. Welcome back to 360 Info Network. And it is brought to you by the Cleveland Observer, the voice in the community. Having a great conversation this morning with my brother Antonio. And I understand that you have something very significant. I believe it's going to take place tomorrow. You want to talk about it?
Well, actually next week, next Sunday, next week Sunday. Just reminding people about the book signing. It's going to be at 15539 Saranac off of 152nd Street. Come on down, have a few refreshments for you as well, and I get a chance to summarize and talk a little bit about the book and why I did it, and and some of the things that I think that community could relate to that's in the book, and give you a good peek, inside look at police culture, police behavior from my point of view. Because I came into the police department in my 30s, you know, already was who I was and what I was about. And so by looking at it, you know, from outside looking into this particular situation, you know, I had some observations. You know, I remember, if I could take a quick minute, uh, I remember when the first time that I went to court, you know, for someone, and we were waiting in the judge's chambers, waiting, you know, for the court to start. So I'm tripping and seeing all the activity behind the scenes and back, and then I see the lawyer and the prosecutor both sitting in the judge chamber, and they talking about the case. And you know, okay, well, he, you know, maybe the lawyer may be, you know, trying to, you know, defend his client a little bit and say, well, we can do this or we can do that. Okay, well, if I drop this, we'll get him on that, and then we'll do this, that. And I was just in amazement, and like, this stuff works like this. You know, they playing people's lives like this and jockey this situation around. It just give you a look into some of the attitudes and some of the things that I've heard for some of my counterparts, some of the white officers, on how they thought about things, our neighborhood, you know, some of the little smart aleckly comments about this and about that, and just the whole institutionalized behavior, and how then looking at how blacks and black officers, you know, dealt with some of the situations, you know, and how they, you know, some of them maybe even assimilated to some of the culture, police culture, and trying to be accepted, and some of them lost themselves. I think, you know, might have lost themselves to where they forget that these are their people still, regardless on how dysfunctional it is. And and how I stated in the book, you have to understand the root cause of this in order to be to me to be a proficient and understanding and empathetic officer. You have to understand the root cause why this is going on, you know, and that's always seemed to be the challenge that I had with some of the officers, of understanding, yeah, this is crazy. Yes, it don't make no sense. But what caused this? Why are they're acting out the way it is? Why this is going on in our community like this? So we tend to do that, and start, just like everything else, it's just nothing but a microcosmic of, we tend to think about just ourselves. You know, I'm gonna write as many tickets as I can because I go to court and I'm gonna get paid. I'm not thinking about the damages that it is doing to our people, and folks got to make a decision about paying the ticket or buying some groceries. You know what I mean? So they not look. There's some of them looking at the overall picture and falling victim to this particular system that is further causing injury to our community, and that's, you know, and that's the issue. So, and that's why I joined the force, you know, at the time as well, because to show our community that there is black officers that is concerned, that does empathize and understand some of the root problems and causing, you know, and you know, and if I have to arrest somebody, I still treat you with dignity, you know, and treat you as a human being. You know, I've seen some of our other officers, you know, they running vice, so they got to be hard, and you know, don't take no stuff, and they dealing with the criminal element because they running on drug dealers and all that. But you still got to treat them like a human being. You don't make them lay down in the snow with their drawers halfway hanging down in the snow, and you know, just degrading them and stuff like that. You know, you don't have to do all of that. You know, so you know, and that's just, you know, so the book will give people a peek into that as well, and hopefully the black officer itself, it'll get him a chance to self-reflect and see, was he victim to that type of assimilation.
Yeah.
So the next Sunday from 2 to 4:30 at Rolls-Royce Classic Event Center on 15539 Saranac.
Yeah. My former classmates establishment, my brother Ralph Sims.
Yeah. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, so we have some books there for sale as well, like we can sign them there. So, you know, if you guys want to come down and support, that would be as well. I guess let me get a couple of little quickies out since we're talking. What is it? The 27th at the Mardon Square in East Cleveland, 13399 Euclid. Brothers doing the first annual United Youth Co-op, community and fundraising gathering. You know, I told him I met him. He bought my book, so I told him I'll mention his program on the show from 2 to 7. 2 to 7. That's in East Cleveland. So it's about bringing youths and everything together. It's a free event. Like I said, Saturday the 27th from 2 to 7. So youth enterprise mentorship, urban agriculture programs, community development projects. So it is all working towards that as well. So, and then our event for all safety forces, the 19th of September. So we're doing a fun 70s fundraiser at Ralph's Place again on the July 18th. So if you want to come out and break out the old Afro puffs and the wigs and the dashikis and the whatever, and come to this 70s event, you know, you can give me a call as well, 216-323-6155. But the funds is going towards acknowledging blacks in safety forces that who, like you said, didn't, like my brother said, they didn't get their flowers at the time that they were, you know, held positions in rank and fire, EMS, and police, and in different municipalities as well. So that's what the fundraiser is for.
You were speaking about some things relative to the mentality of police officers, and I couldn't help but reflect on a story that I heard a couple days ago that involved, I think it was in Mississippi. There was a woman who left Walmart with diapers, and for some reason, someone thought that she shoplifted the diapers. So there was a police chase, and the police shot into the car and killed her 1-year-old son.
Ooh.
And it just caused me to ask the question of myself, have we outlived the purpose for police in our community? Because the purpose of the police, at least one of them, is to protect property. And so those diapers leaving the store was property that left the store. Now, she had a digital receipt, so she did pay for it. It wasn't that, you know, she stole them, but someone took it upon themselves to punish this person for an alleged crime that didn't happen and resulted in a loss of life. And this is probably just one of many similar types of situations that happen all the time that we don't hear about. Closer to home in Cleveland Heights, there's a young man who 2 years ago in August was shot and killed by Cleveland Heights police officers, who up to this point, I believe, are unnamed, who have not been prosecuted, who have been essentially exonerated by the BCI because they found no evidence that you know, that they did anything wrong. But the fact is that for whatever reason, their body cams were not on when the alleged shooting took place.
Okay.
And there were 3 of them in a house and 1 of him. And the victim was able to leave the house. 18-year-old boy was able to leave the house, but somehow he died, and then he did not get proper medical attention. And all of this is being swept under the rug. This is another Tamir Rice shooting, but nobody knows about Christian Tyson Thomas, which is a real tragedy if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree with you there. See, here's, you know, and there's a couple of things that I pointed out in the book as well, you know, about that. You know, for number one, it's imperative, especially in Black urban communities, that the Black community, along with anything else, you see, we having the same problem in the police department as we have in our communities. We have to be more involved. You know, we got to have a stake in it. We just can't be occupants of our community and let everybody else decide things for us. So if we living in a predominantly Black community, we should have a predominantly Black police department. you know, and we should be more involved into the selection process of those particular officers. You know, we should be, you know, because we talking with, like, just like you said, life and death situations, life and death circumstances. One question I put in the book about the use of deadly force. You know, what would, it would be interesting to note, what would be the ratio of use to deadly force committed by a black officer versus a white officers that was in, now here's the catch, that was put in a deadly situation where they could have used force but elected not to. They took that extra half a second or second to say, oh, wait a minute, let me wait a second. You know, I would like to see, because I talked to several black officers who said, I could have shot him, but I didn't. I reserved this, that, and other. And a lot of times it paid off by waiting that extra second, that extra minute. Okay, I'm gonna get in trouble right here. What if this, with Tamir Rice's situation, now he was sitting on the bench. The police rolled up on that. He got up and started walking to the police car, raised up his shirt and started reaching for, what if he was trying to say, hey, officer, this is just a play gun? You see what I'm saying? What that extra second or so could have said, could have meant. See, we'll never know that. You know what I mean? So again, we have to be involved. Another thing I stated in the book is words sound good on paper, but do we have the right type of people to implement those words, to carry out those policies? That's my point. I don't think we have them. The Constitution sounds good on paper, don't it? But are they abiding by those things, or by those GPOs, or they give them their rights? How many times have other officers abused people's constitutional rights, calling you over here, asking you for information, don't have no reason to search and check your cars? How many times our rights has been violated due to officers? And in chapter 4, I talked about, you know, it's a spool on make policing great again. A lot of police officers feel that, oh wow, I got to abide by the Constitution. That's going to take away some of my you know, some of the ways I used to do things. You know what I mean? I just can't call somebody over here and say, and go in their pockets and ask them where they going, or this, that, and other. They feel like a good police work is not being done at this particular point.
Well, it brings me back to the question: has policing outlived its purpose? Because
Well,
again, we're coming back to people who are acting in certain positions that contradict the laws that were established. Due process is due process. If you shoot and kill somebody, they don't have due process. You tried, convicted them, and executed them in a matter of seconds. You know, now sometimes we might blame ourselves. You know, some people might say, well, you know, how come the boy's mother didn't tell him that, you know, when you get approached, drop to the ground and make yourself vulnerable all of a sudden? You know, you saying that he walked towards the police and reached for his gun. Well, he gave them every reason, because their safety is most important, not his. They're not thinking about his safety. And if they have a predetermined mindset that this person is not worth being alive, they don't have any misgivings about taking that life. They don't lose any sleep because they took somebody's life. They felt like they did society a favor because they exterminated another one of the problems that exist in this country.
Well, I think the whole a lot to be eliminated. You know, we got crime and we can't do that. But I just think it needs to be revamped. You know, just like, you know, everything else has been upgraded. Let's say it needs a serious upgrade. Let me say it like that. It needs a serious upgrade and another way, a conscientious way of looking at police. You know, because like real quickly, like I stated in the book about, you know, police being on the streets for 20 years, seeing all the ugliness that the street has to offer. Well, we need to maybe take that officer off the street for a while and put him in, population to where he can become a human being again, and not being so insensitive to everything out there, believe everybody's lying to him and things like that. So that can happen. You can get numb, insensitive, and things like that. So do we want that type of officer on the street? You see, that's the question. So, it's above my pay grade, but it should be some type of cycling in and cycling out, to turn some of these police officers back to human beings again.
Mm. Brother Antonio, we just have a few more moments left on the terrestrial broadcast. And if you don't mind, I would like to extend it just a few moments past noon. There is something that is really at the top of my head right now. And so you remember how you used to birth babies? I got a baby to birth.
Okay.
But before we do that, I just want to acknowledge our engineer, Tone Harley. He keeps us on the air every week, and I appreciate everything that he does to make sure that we come through with a quality sound. So thanks to Tone Harley, and thanks to all of you who have tuned in. As always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make today your absolute best day. Peace.
Peace, peace.
It's 12 o'clock noon right here on our YouTube channel, and I think that I figured out what needs to happen in order for you to share the broadcast, and I'll give you an explanation for that off the air.
Yeah. I was able to do it. So on that second link. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we've been talking about your book, Community Policing, Conscientious Policing. I'm sorry. And you talked about the event that you're going to have next Sunday. I want to give you another opportunity to shout that out, and then I want to talk to you about something else that's kind of remotely connected.
Okay. Again, the book signing 2 to 4:30, 15539 Saranac. Books will be available. We go through a brief summary again of the book, and for those who want to support what I'm doing and what I've done as far as the book is concerned, and I think it's some good, helpful, useful information in the book. I think you can get some out of it. Somebody who may be in law enforcement trying to get into law enforcement, but it gives you a good understanding of what Black officers are going through and have to deal with, because it's a balancing act that you have to go through, and getting into an institution that ain't been favorable to Black folks since its conception. So,
well, it was created for containment, basically.
Yes. So come on out, 216-323-6155, 216-323-6155, and you can also get some tickets for the fundraiser 70s style cabaret.
Okay. So if you are online with us, either on YouTube or Facebook, we'd like to invite you to subscribe to our various platforms. Brother Lynn has a YouTube channel. It's called The Journey with Antonio. My channel is with my name, and my number attached to it is 3193. So you can go on and you can find the shows that we do are archived on those respective channels. A few weeks ago, I saw a post on Facebook by Dr. Tim Goller, and it was a meme that basically stated that distraction is the new slavery. And then earlier this week, I watched a podcast on Code M Magazine's platform, and this brother by the name of Jerome Cash, who was with the Washington Wellness Institute, was talking about social media and the impact that it's having on the mental health of people. And it really caused me to self-reflect, because I know that because we have these platforms and we have marketing needs, and we have so much information coming at us, and we want to get access to people, that we utilize social media. But the idea that distraction could be a form of slavery,
for sure,
it's really pertinent as we navigate this weekend of Juneteenth, because this weekend is all about the end of slavery. And, I'm on social media, so I'm seeing things about when slavery actually ended. And, it was stated by Henry Louis Gates that the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 did not end slavery, and neither did it end slavery in 1865. So we receive information, and all we know is what we're told in many cases, and we don't really know the truth of it. So now we're operating under this idea that slavery is over. We have the 13th Amendment, and the 13th Amendment indicates that and it's probably not the language verbatim, but basically, if you have committed a felony and you are incarcerated, that's a loophole that creates another paradigm of slavery. So we look at that situation and we think, okay, well, those folks that are in that circumstance are slaves. But those of us who are on the outside of the prisons are not slaves, because freedom in America exists. But when we look at history and we bring history all the way up into the very moment that we're living in right now, can we honestly say that we're free? Case in point, Nicholas Payton was supposed to be in the Tri-C JazzFest.
I was going to ask you about, because I didn't hear about that. I was going to ask you what happened. Go ahead.
But somebody decided that he was not worthy based on something that he said, whether it was in context or out of context. So are you free to speak your mind? If you say something about the wrong entity, the next thing you know, canceling takes place. So are we really free? When you look at the impact of wages, and we talk about this, but I have to reiterate this. When we talk about wages, the money that people are paid for the time that they give to folks who pay them to do what they do. And these wages are not able to provide everything that they need because the cost of things go up, but their wages are not equal to the rise in the costs, then you're enslaved. That's a form of slavery. Wage slavery is slavery. Call it what you want to call it or don't want to call it. But the reality of that is enslavement, because people cannot provide for themselves. When we look at slavery, we always think about it in physical terms. Somebody has a ball and a chain around their ankle, or the modern equivalent, which is an ankle bracelet. That's the equivalent of it. Okay. And then these things, our phones, we're tied to them. What happens when you leave the house and you don't have your phone? It's like you walking outside naked. And so you have to go back home and get your phone. And in many cases, you can't conduct business if you don't have your phone. So these things enslave us. And then if you get to the idea of distraction being a form of slavery, this saps up all of your attention. You can't just be sitting somewhere outside looking at the sky, watching the wind blow the trees, the leaves on the trees, watching the animals and the birds and whatnot. You doing this all the time. And you're being fed information that is intended to influence you in some type of way. So in essence, you have lost control of your mind because you're locked into something that saps all of your attention. The answers to all of the issues that face you in life are here. They're here. But when they control you with this, they keep you away from the power that you have as an individual on this planet.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And so at what point do we say to ourselves, like Erykah Badu said in one of her last recordings, I can make you put your phone down.
Okay.
Just think about the power in that. I can make you put your phone down. The conclusion that I arrived at is that our connections to these devices, they're addictions. It is an addiction. Can you imagine going through a whole day without looking at this? It's virtually impossible. And what some of us do when we wake up in the morning, first thing we do is we pick up our phone. And what that does, these things act as portals. That's what this is. This is a portal. And it's a portal to your brain. It's a portal to your mind. When you look at social media, and we're going to have somebody on this program that can explain it to us in scientific terms, because it's all about dopamine. It's all about how your brain is wired. You're going on social media so that you can get likes and loves and clicks and all of that, and attention. There are people who post some of the most mundane things that you could ever imagine, but they do it every day. And they got people who are tuning in every day, watching them doing nothing. They just sitting somewhere doing this, having a conversation with people that they can't see, people that they don't know. And it's supposed to be social media, but in essence, it's really anti-social media. I'm reflecting on, and these thoughts ran through my head yesterday. I was thinking about fake book, Instasham, TikTok.
You're taking a page out of Dr. Moore's book, Dr. Moore.
Exactly. All those things came into my head, and then I looked at myself, and I asked myself the question: how much time do you spend staring at a screen every day? And so this morning when I got up, I went to the nature preserve over there next to the lake between Brattonall and Cleveland. Okay. And I walked for an hour with the intention of getting sunlight into my eyes, getting whatever I get from the trees, watching the birds, listening to the birds and the animals. And I was enjoying it so much. And then from the Inner City Yacht Club, I'm hearing music blasting like I'm sitting in my living room with my headphones on. It's like,
yeah, I some people I know they giving a Juneteenth something down there or something.
I'm like, maybe I should walk on a Tuesday or a Wednesday when I know ain't nothing happening down there. But then I was just thinking about the music, and ironically, we talked about JazzFest today, but the question in my mind was, why does the music have to be so loud? If something is supposed to be healing us, it can also damage us if we don't use it responsibly. And then, we can get to the whole 440 versus 432 hertz thing. We can get to the fact that they put subliminals in the music. We can get to the fact that they are really running programs and loops on us. We can get to the fact that they're harvesting our energy, that they're lowering our vibration. I mean, we can talk about how the recording industry has used it as a tool against us, as opposed to using it as a tool for us, which brings us to the value of those of us who are musicians, who have a certain level of consciousness so that we can use the music for healing. See, it really puts the onus on us to create music that liberates us and frees our minds, as opposed to creating music that just puts us in a negative place.
Absolutely.
our brothers and sisters out there singing about thuggery, druggery,
Come
all
on,
those
come on,
kinds of
come on.
things.
Uh-oh.
And then you riding through the streets and you're subjected to it. How many times have you been in traffic and somebody's got a hyped up, super monstrous sound system that the music is so loud that it's rattling the metal on your car? You know, not to mention disturbing whatever peace you might have. You might be a person that decides to drive around in your car and not have anything on, no music, nothing. Just I'm riding, I'm connecting with my thoughts, I'm thinking through things, I'm using this time as meditative time. You know, and then somebody comes along and disturbs your peace with all that craziness. You know, and it could be a situation where they riding down the street and the song is saying free your mind, free your mind, free your mind, but you ain't hearing free your mind. You're not hearing that.
You're hearing boom, 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 huh?
That's all you hear. You sometimes you can't even make out what they're saying.
That's
you
true.
know,
That's true. Yeah.
Brother, I'm walking through the woods today and I can hear a motorcycle. And I'm thinking to myself, you on this motorcycle, you don't hear all this noise that is so loud that it can be heard from 3, 4, 5 miles away. It just, brother, it makes no sense to me. And I know that people who ride motorcycles have loud motorcycles so that they can be heard. So it's a safety issue for them, right? Safety for them. But it's destructive to everybody else. So you sacrificing everybody's right to silence, it's amazing to me, and then against all of that, we have this notion that we're living in the best of times.
You said it, a notion.
But in certain ways it is, but the issue is our ability to take advantage of the best of times. Because while we have what are considered the best of times, when you look at the lives of many people, it's the worst of times. This thing that happened over on the other side of the world involving a country by the name of Iran is another instance of America losing a war. So now Iran is in a better position than they were before, because now folks can't just go through the Straits of Hormuz and not pay. Now they got to pay. It's like they won the war with slingshots and spitballs while America was tossing missiles.
Spending millions, billions.
I'm looking at video that somebody said, and I ain't gonna say who, but you know who I'm talking about, said that your energy costs are gonna be cut in half. More than once. The video showed time and time again, these are promises that were made. Your energy bills are gonna be cut in half. Now they talking about $200 a barrel oil. And when it goes up to $200 and we paying $5 a gallon for gas, then what? $10 a gallon for gas? What is that going to do? People will come up like they do in the hood. You ever pull up to a gas pump and you see somebody put $5 worth of gas in the car?
Put this in the car. Some change you put on the counter.
You're gonna pull up to the gas station and put $1 in your gas tank, and it might be enough gas to get you around the corner back home. These are the things that we're facing. We're looking at the largest transfer of wealth in the history of this planet right now. And I know, some folks are like, oh, he's talking about that again. I'm ringing the bell, bruh. I'm ringing the bell. They changing stuff in front of your eyes. And you gushing about what Michelle Obama said about her husband a few days ago. And it's nice, it's all good, and we can feel good about that. But at the same time, you're not noticing what's happening in the commodities markets. You're not noticing what's happening with precious metals. You're not noticing what's happening with stable coins and cryptocurrency or digital assets and tokenization. You're not paying attention to all these people are telling you that you can use an insurance policy to do exactly what the elites do so that they don't pay taxes. We ain't paying attention to that. So, and it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. They're going to put people on universal basic income and give them programmable currency that they can't use to make investments. And it'll be the same thing. They give you just enough to get the bovine growth fluid from the cow and the eggs that come out the chickens that you paying $10 a dozen for, that'll go up to $20 a dozen. Right? They're doing all this right now. And you still tripping about the Knicks winning the NBA championship. That's what's happening right now. And you got people that are shouting at the top of their lungs, hey, look at what they doing. And you watching the replay of the shot in the final seconds over and over and over again, ecstatic because your favorite team won a championship. That's where we are right now. And it's just come to a time where people have to change where their attention goes, because the attention is going to things that are not going to enable them to be able to keep up with what's going on right now.
And that's the plan, Vince. That's the plan right now. You know, because at that point, in not reiterating, but going back and commenting on some of the things that you said about the phone and all the rest of that. And just like everything, it seemed like to me, everything is based on that to get you to look outside of yourself rather than looking in, depending on someone else to tell you what the deal is, rather than you sitting down, being quiet, going in nature, like you said, and listening to the little voice that is inside of you. Greater he that's in you than in the world. God don't dwell in temples made by hands. He's telling you it's in you. The listening to the little voice. So, you know, by you now, just like the pastor, depending on somebody else to tell you something, rather than you reading the stuff yourself, it's the same thing with the phone. So you want to get it all out of the data from the phone. You know, you want to pay attention. So you looking at it. We ain't talking about the blue light background for everything. Look at how the blue light is messing with you through the computers, through the phones, or whatever. Now, here's the interesting point that I really want our people to really listen to my words here. If you got a long history of deceiving folks, trying to control folks, murder folks, lying to folks, doing all those things, how can you trust the system with anything? Please hear my words. How could you trust them to prepare your food right? How could you trust them to have the air right, to have all the chemicals right? All, you know, that's in your food that they're not putting. You talk about the dopamine, the cytotoxins and all. How could you? This is one of the things that I just come, you know, well, I thought about it a while, but I just thought about it again in recent times. And I wish I had some money to do it. When folks want these grants, it might be a way to do, you know, to write a grant that makes it sounds, you know, like something we need in the neighborhood. What up? And I know nobody's thinking about this. Food affects us. We talk all the time about food, Vince, and how, and we just, you know, I just said how they could be putting chemicals in your food, or the broccoli might not be worth a quarter. How about a food lab in our community where we can test all the products and stuff that comes in our neighborhood so we can see how much minerals in it, if it ain't in it or something foreign in it. We ain't thinking about nothing like that. We gobbling up everything they give us, and we don't know what's inside of none of it. So whatever distorted mind want to do anything to us, fag us out, drug us out, give us all kinds of, they can do what they feel like doing to us because we don't have no idea what is being fed to us. You know, I looked at some $15,000, $20,000 or something, you know, or you might can contract a lab, find a food lab somewhere where you could go get these products tested and seeing if they are what they say they are, rather than, because those are big issues when it comes to our community. Just like the police, food and stuff like that, those things are very harmful. It you know, can talk about lifespans and everything, deal with your life. So, but we're not thinking about those type of things, you know. So again, you following the wrong lead. That is a title in the book, Follow the Leader. Really, you're following the wrong lead. They don't have a history of doing anything in your best interest and in favor of you. So why, Vince? Why are we still following that wrong lead like that? And that's why I say, you know, in one respect, and please y'all don't jump on me too much, but that's why I wrote the book. I mean, I wrote the poem, We Need an Antidote, because we acting like we're mentally ill, like something is wrong. A normal person when getting attacked do not act like that. So they over the years have got us so entrenched into this and so complacent into letting other folks decide, make all these decisions for us, and trusting. We're so trusting that folks would, oh, they won't do that. That won't. Oh, dude, you got 400 or 1,000 years of history that will show you what somebody would do. And look at all the new stuff that is coming out now that we didn't know nothing about, that has been done to Black folks, and with experimentations, and you get the higher form of killing. You know, the book there, they've been secretly, you know, putting all kind of things. You know, you always talk about the chemtrails and all the rest of the stuff that is out here that they're doing. They've been doing it forever. Y'all, come on. So my point is how we can be so trusting. That is baffling me. How can we be so trusting that they're going to do the right things? Lastly, I lived out in the country. I raised cows. I raised hogs. I raised chickens. Okay? Like I used to tell you about a chicken take almost about a year for it to get ready to, if you're feeding it with regular stuff, to be fattened up and ate. It's all about poundage. It's all about poundage. When we took those cows to the market, we got money based on how fat they was, how heavy they was. So if you know this man is about money, in fact, you think he gonna fatten them up with some low quality stuff so he can get his dollars, you know, at the market. You know he gonna do that.
Well, you know, they've taken things to a new level, to where they want you to eat meat that was grown in a lab and not with an animal.
Oh my goodness, brother.
And see, one thing that they're saying is that all these cattle, they emit methane gas when the gas comes out the rear.
Right,
you know, and somehow this is harmful to the ozone.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, you've got other folks who they promote, and you know, they kind of glamorize being a carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some folks out there that are saying you don't need to eat carbohydrates, you know, because meat just does these great things for you, you know. And so this might be a way of sabotaging that agenda, because they want to give you something that's processed and chemicalized. And, you know, the ultimate is that these chemicals, because they're synthetic, are going to cause a problem and it has to be treated. And that's the whole game. You know, it's amazing to me, Brother Lynn, that we live in what's supposed to be the greatest country on the face of the earth that has the highest rate of obesity and incarceration. How can you have those two things and consider yourself a great country?
Add one more to the list. Drugs. I use drugs. I've been to seminars that saying America make up 4% of the world's population, but is responsible for 60% of the drug use. We're doing something wrong here, bro.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Drug use and consumption.
Yes.
See, because when you talk about use, it's a drug that's used recreationally or whatever, you know, because it helps people process themselves mentally or whatever. But then you have the drugs that are used to cope with things like physical ailments and so forth and so on. And then you have the drugs that are food or food, I'll say food products. They're food products because Doritos ain't food. That's a product. It's not a food.
Right.
And very little of anything in that chip is real.
Nutrition is for you as well. Yeah, go.
Right. And in addition to that, the Doritos have monosodium glutamate, which is an excitotoxin, which is a drug. So you eating something that's supposed to be giving you nutrition, and they got it right there on the label. Nutrition facts, right? Carbohydrates, protein, fat, and all of it is fake. You know, America is like the fakest country in the world. You got politicians who lie. They just lie. They lie. They're not telling the truth. They tell you lies so many times that you begin to believe the lie as truth.
Yeah.
You know, and then just getting back to that whole thing about the answers being within. And I know I'm stepping on somebody's toes, and it's not intentional. It's just in the interest of raising consciousness. You are the church. You are the temple. This is where heaven resides. You can look up in the sky and relate that to a higher sense of consciousness. But you are the universe. The truth lives within you. The kingdom is within. That's what the book tells you. You know, and here's another thing. Just because you can read something doesn't mean that you understand it. People read those words every Sunday. That doesn't mean that they communicate truth to them. It communicates ideas to them, but they don't necessarily see the truth that's in the words. And those words get misinterpreted because they've been reinterpreted. You ain't getting the original meaning of something sometimes. You getting something that somebody pulled out of their head, repeated so many times, and then you thought, well, you know, it must be true because they keep saying it. That don't mean it's true. It just means it's something that you've heard over and over and over again. Words are used to create spells. The spells are used to create control. We talked about this weeks ago. They took etymology out of the schools. In 1940 something, they took etymology out of the schools because they didn't want people to understand the origins and the meanings of the words. So that they could keep you subject to whatever they tell you that word means. We use the word nice. Nice was not always a good thing. Nice in the old days was a bad thing. We say nice without even thinking about it. You know, the term queen. Back in the day, queen had a negative connotation. Now we call our sisters queens, and we don't even know what we're saying to them. We just accept it, you know, well, it must be a good thing. Yeah, and then look, there's 55 countries, 54, 55 countries in Africa. And they did away with monarchies in most of those countries. So how you gonna be a queen if you don't have a country to be a queen of? You know, Everybody can't be queens. Everybody can't be kings. But we use those terms loosely.
Well, you know why we do that. You know, you've been slandered so long and used in negative connotations so long. So anything positive to reinforce who and what you are, all you got to do is read your history. That's all you got to do is read. If you want to feel good about yourself, all you got to do is read your history and know your history even here. When we set foot here, you know, you're the most powerful immigrant that ever. Well, you know, we was already here too, but you know, hit the shores of this country. We done done so much for this place. It's unbelievable what you brought in, and we ain't gonna even talk about the moral output that you have done. You put sanity in this country. There was a bunch of heathens, killers, and every doggone thing else. No trace of spirituality whatsoever. The Native Americans or the people was here, and even in Africa, and I talk about that in the book for sure. You know, when they looking at them like they was crazy. Like, where these people come from? There's no regards for nature, no regard. Speak with forked tongues. Look, you talk about a people that they don't have when entering in over 200 treaties and broke every last one of them. Now, what do that tell you? Is those the type of people that you need to follow? Is those the type of people that you need to entrust in and believe in, and believing that they're gonna do the right thing by you? You got 400 plus years of evidence. What is it? So what has massaged you? Let's get back to that. What has massaged you and massaged your mind into being all this trusting? What put you to sleep like that? Was it the gradual dimming of the lights until you found out that you was in the dark? You know what I mean? You know, do little bit by little that they just coerced you into this way of thinking and massaging you. You know, the Pledge of Allegiance and Leave It to Beavers on TV. Like, this is what life is, the white picket fence and mom's apple pie. And you just got lured into this acceptability, and you just, you know, you around there. I'm gonna get in trouble now. You around here claiming, just say the system. This is our country, my country. I laugh at black folks talking. Yeah, well, when we here in America, in our country, and I'm like, your country. When has it been your country? I mean, you know what I'm talking about philosophically. Yeah, we was here in our land for sure. But I'm talking about the system. When has it been in your favor? You've been fighting for damn ever.
Well, that's the real irony. This is our country.
Yeah, right.
It's our country in which we have no sovereignty.
None.
This is essentially stolen land. Yes. One thing that I wanted to mention.
I'm gonna start real quick. This is a funny I got to throw out.
Okay.
Yeah, 4th of July has come up. I'm gonna see how many of us is gonna be waving the red, white, and blue. Probably won't even do a whole lot for Juneteenth or Black History, but they're gonna wear that red, white, and blue. But go ahead. I'm my bad.
Well, I just wanted to get to the fact that we don't really have an awareness of all of the entities that are involved in this scenario, just because there have been limitations on what we have been told. So, and I don't have statistics. There's no way that I can quantify what I'm saying. But most people, many people, I'll just put it in those terms. Many people have no idea what a reptilian is.
Okay.
They don't know about shape-shifting. They don't know about Nephilim. They don't know about Anunnaki. They don't know about Enlil and Enki. These are entities that they're not commonplace in terms of understanding. Now, I will say, just based on, once again, social media, because that's what precipitated this whole conversation. Because of social media, there is an awareness, and you're seeing how there are some people who know about it and they put that out there. But for the most part, you know, we go by these narratives that have been constructed so that the people who are in charge don't look any less than those who came before them. Because when you look at things like Tartaria and other things like that, you know, and you look at the pyramids being built as energy systems and all of that, if we knew the truth about those things, then we would realize that the technology in place today pales in comparison to what.
Yeah, it's substandard. Absolutely.
And it just so happens that it was us that were responsible for that level of technology, awareness, understanding, science, and all those things.
Some of us can't perceive that, Vince. We can't perceive that.
We can't see it. Partly because we view our existence through a 400-year lens, or now 500-year lens. We don't look all the way back because we're operating on what we've been told and not what really happened. And that's how they keep people in this place of subjugation. In the last week, it came out that now Elon is a trillionaire. But Elon has trillions that are represented by contracts and digital input and technology. He ain't sitting on $1 trillion worth of gold.
That's right.
Something tangible. When you look at his car company, Tesla doesn't sell more vehicles than anyone else. Tesla's value is represented by the investment in stock, which is based on speculation and expectation. But it's not based on car sales.
That's right.
And you got Teslas that are self-driving and catching on fire. Those incidents are being pushed down so people don't have any fear of driving a Tesla. But if you know something is driving you, and it could blow up on you, you know, just like robots that they've created that have gone on killing sprees that we don't hear about. You know?
Yeah. You
know, so I don't know, brother.
Vince, you got to. A person with sound mind, you know, and playing chess and not checkers. Where are we going with this? Because you know, it's you know, I'm sure it's above my reach because they 50 years ahead. But we have to understand they are leading us somewhere. And I would put my money on it ain't good. It ain't good. So what do? Let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the foundational stuff. Stay there. You know, at least have a part of you staying there. It's almost like when you're eating food, they say you want 50-60% raw and maybe other part cooked or something. Well, get 50% to 60% natural. Try to stay natural with some stuff. At least keep some nature in your life, some kind of way. Keep some nature and natural in your life. Take that time that you talked about, Vince, because I thought about, you know, when I was doing my programs and people do it too, but when I was talking about doing my programs in June, I was saying, heck, we're gonna have a blackout. Let's just have a whole day. We ain't touching no electronics. We ain't seeing no electronics. We all together. So take that time for your family and everything to get away from all these frequencies. Get away, because you best believe that they tainting this stuff with something that is not good for you. You best believe that. And you should know that if you know anything about the body, you know anything about frequency, you know anything about melanin and energy, you know anything about fluorescent lights and all of this stuff, the cesspool of frequency that we are basting in. Oh, they came and put all these electronic meters, water meters and things in your house. Now you're sitting in a bed of frequencies. You know what I mean? You know, so again, get away from it. Detach yourself away from it sometimes and get out in nature. Go out to take the family, have a family union, and tell everybody to put the electronics in a bucket somewhere and just deal with some natural nature stuff. You know what I mean? Because what they doing with these techno babies, I call them. We are these techno babies, and what we becoming. I don't like where we're going. You know, where you sitting around in the car, you riding with your kids, and everybody looking at this doggone phone. Nobody communicating. They don't even know how to communicate. Come on, let's play chess. What's the next move with that? Where are they going with this? You can see it in your face as happening. You like, oh, it's so good. We got technology. Oh, I have my fingertips. But there's always a double-edged sword to all of this. There's some good because that's what they do. They give you quickly, and I'm gonna cut it off with the cameras in the streets. What they gonna tell you? Hey, it'll stop crime. It you know, we gonna stop trim the criminality in your neighborhood. We can watch and see what's going on. Yeah, but what's the other side of that? I can watch everything that you're doing. There's always another side to it. So quit falling for the okie doke every time. You know what I mean? We have to judge this system like we judge a crackhead. He bring you something, you better look at him with the deaf eye on like, okay, where you going with this? Why are you doing this? I'm sure that you benefit from this some kind of way, and try to find out and put our think tank together and find out what the plan that they're trying and what the jackpot they're trying to put us in.
Yeah. It's been stated that 70% of jobs are going to be eliminated by AI. And you know, there are a lot of narratives about, you know, the danger of AI and so forth and so on. But AI also is a tool that you can use to obtain truths. So yesterday I watched a video where someone who has a good relationship with their AI asked the question about something that happened 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And basically what it stated was that what happened didn't really happen. Yeah. And there was no reason for this AI to be disingenuous. If you use it properly, you can get to the truth beyond the popular narratives. I'm gonna have to share that with you because I'm sure that I saved it to my computer. But when you listen to what was stated, it was like, wow, you know, that the Rona wasn't really the Rona, but the Rona was something else that was already in existence. But then the answer to the Rona caused more problems than the Rona. But they had they had all these things going through people's minds, you know. And so now you see people who are still living in the fear that was created 5 or 6 years ago by the lies that we were told back then. There was another situation where AI was asked, what would you be if you could make a choice? And you know what the answer was?
What's that?
I would be a black person. You hear what I'm saying? Because the truth is the truth. And all this large language models stuff that's out there, they know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, so what we're going to need to do now is we're going to have to understand how we can leverage technology to our benefit. You know, we talked about currency and all of that. You know, you can become your own bank, and you need to be your own bank, and you can play by the rules and be your own bank and have complete control of your financial and economic situation. We can do that with the right knowledge, but that knowledge is not pervasive. It's not out there. It's not being shared, because if you had this knowledge, then you wouldn't need them. You put your money in the bank in a savings account, they get you 0.1% or 0.01% interest. Your money's not working for you, but they're using it to make money. And we live under this illusion that our money is secure when it's in the bank. But they got a new system now. So you can put the things that represent value in this new system and preserve the integrity of that value. Or you can keep doing what you used to do and let somebody else control it and manipulate you.
I see.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are right now. This is not down the road. You know, they're having conversations on Capitol Hill about something that they want to happen by July 4th, which may or may not happen. But whether it happens or not on July 4th, the infrastructure is built. The rails are greased and the system is moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us who don't know about it, we get left in the dust. But the ones who do know about it can create power for themselves. So it's important for us to share this information so that people know that they have alternatives and they have a choice. You know, we complicate things by thinking that we can't do things. You can get a pot, some soil, some seeds, and some water and grow food in your house or in your yard. You know, I mean, bruh, you go to the supermarket, you pay $3 for one bell pepper. For one bell pepper. You remember back in the day, Lynn, you used to go to the grocery store and you would get 20 ears of corn for $1. 20 for $1. Now you might get 6 for $2.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I'm thinking about this. Dag, I should be growing my own tomatoes. Are you serious? This is how much you want? You could go into a store and pay $4 for one pear. No lie. Go to the store, buy an Asian pear, $4, one pear. You want one of them watermelons that's coming up from Alabama and Mississippi, and bruh man drove them up last Tuesday? Guess what he want? He wants $16 for that watermelon with seeds in it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to take matters into our own hands. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that.
You know,
I agree with that.
Taking matters into your own hands means putting this down and doing something else that it actively engages your brain in mental activity and not being fed something that ultimately leads you to taking money out of what your account and giving it to somebody else. You know, that's the game.
You know what I can equate that to, because I was listening to when you were saying something about, the technology and using AI, for another way of using it, something positive. And then what came to my mind, our people have to be motivated. Because when you talked about everything being inside of you, and what our good brother Kaba Kamene would say, that you have it all in, you got to have the right teacher in order for you to bring it out of you. You know what I'm saying? So what school and what teaching is all about? Motivation. You have to be motivated to do something. You have to be motivated to do something. And so how do we go about getting this motivation, and who we want to be motivated by? I was talking to someone about it. Everything is about indoctrination. When you grow up in a cultural society, that's indoctrination. All of it is about indoctrination. You're learning rules, customs, behaviors, and all that. That's indoctrinating. The problem is, who are the people indoctrinating you?
Right.
That is, you want the right people indoctrinating you for your own best interests, for you, the community, and everything, for your survival. So that's where that motivation coming in. So that's why we got to unlock this first here. We got to unlock that brain and understand who you are, what you are, and you got to have that thirst to do something for community in a positive way. So take that, be motivated to take that technology, like you just said with AI, and put some positive indoctrination together that's going to help the folks, that's going to help the community. Because we know right now, through this track record and through the history right now, for every invention that folks come up that was good, other folks was looking at it. How can I use it to control you? How can I use it as a weapon? How can I use it as a this? You know, now when I talked about in the book with gunpowder, Chinese had gunpowder. They ain't put no mass weapon of destruction together for gunpowder. It was used for ceremonies and things like nature. It's all the mindset. So we have to get our mindset together that is talking about, life and purposeful and getting back to nature and spirituality and things of that. Then you will automatically, like our ancestors did, they put systems together to heighten your level of consciousness, to bring you closer to the creator. Everything was made, in your names. They gave you self-affirmation names that when you say these vibratory energies, it evokes a certain spirit inside of you. They played music that evokes a certain spirit inside of you, something positive, not putting something negative in you. It's all about who is doing the indoctrination, brother. And I'm saying to you that it's criminal for you to think the way you've been showed something is the only way to do something. That's criminal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once you become motivated and things of that nature, you would start being creative, and you would start using that AI to do something that is more positive for you as a people in a community. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. It's really about being conscious and aware, and knowing why you're here. We have taken it upon ourselves to be purveyors of information, knowledge, and wisdom. And it's not just us. It's those who are capable, as you mentioned, the Kaba Kamanis and the Malefica Santis and the Professor Smalls and all of those who have a great understanding or comprehension of history and culture and are in a position to share that knowledge and wisdom with us. We have to seek those folk out. But we do. We have to do a revolutionary type thing, and that is pick up a book and turn pages. Because it's a different experience. And there are apps, they got apps now that you can just scan the cover and it's going to read the whole book to you. So you don't even have to turn the pages. You can listen to the book, and if you're making a long drive or something like that, it's an effective use of time because you can't read and drive at the same time, but you can consume the content. But there's something significant about reading the words from a page. Just like there's something significant about writing words on a page. There's something significant about writing in cursive language. All of these things are things that we've been pushed away from them because there's power in them. They don't want you to read. They don't want you to read books. And so now when you look at the latest generation of young people that are navigating the educational space, they can't even read a complete sentence, brother.
That's why I say, where are we going with this? Yes.
Right. So what has to happen, not what needs to happen, but what has to happen is that we have to look at the dynamics of the family. We have to be responsible as parents. We have to carry forward the traditions that we've had for centuries. The oral tradition of passing knowledge and information down by having conversations. My mother tells me things about our family, and she'll tell me these things sometimes more than once. That's part of the oral tradition.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I could complain about the repetition, but the repetition is reinforcing my memory.
Mm-hmm.
So she's told me so many times that it's locked in. And so that I can pass this down to those who come after me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very basic thing that we do, you know, something that we've gotten away from.
The man has shunned it. He talked about it like, you know, you don't need that garbage. That's garbage. It ain't necessary.
Yeah.
You know, or it's not verifiable. It's pseudo, and it's this and it's that.
Yeah.
But our ancestors knew what purpose it was. Dr. Finch said to me, you know, hey, our ancestors wrote it in stone because they knew there was going to be a time that we was going to forget it.
Yes. And you know something else, Brother Lynn? They knew back then what was going to happen now.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
They predicted the very things that are happening right now. So if you want to trust somebody's wisdom, why would you not trust somebody who was capable of seeing this far into the future?
Yes.
And once again, everything that they said is in the pages of the book that you refuse to read because you've been told that only one book matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that one book that matters so much is a book that you read without understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go without understanding, without comprehension? But you don't comprehend and you don't look beyond a book that has really been used to justify putting you in the situation that you're in right now.
For sure. It ain't really been in your best interest, to be honest, because all it did was make you passive. All it did was make you passive and look towards the heavens, you know what I'm saying? And wait and be a patient.
It told you to be obedient to your master.
Yeah, come on.
And didn't give you the whole story. You know, I ain't gonna say I'm tripping, but I'm just in a different place now, understanding the existence of a Bible that was out before the Bible was written by the Europeans. The Ethiopian Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Some say it has 81 books in it. Some say it has 88 books in it.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is it has more books than the other one. And it has books in it that tell you things that them other 66 books don't tell you that you need to know about who you are and what you are capable of.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they just happen to be your people, dark-skinned people. Come on, don't that give you some kind of reverence or some kind of connection there to say, hey, what, you know, these are my folks who said something about it. Don't they give you some kind of feeling of like, oh, well, let me see what my folks have to say about this. I'm listening to what everybody else had to say. And these people just happen to be the first people on the planet as well. Let me see what they have to say about it.
Yes.
You know, now, okay. Those who out there consider themselves a person that is halfway knowledgeable on and got their finger on the pulse of what's going on, and they know about Europeans and the settlers and that, and they know maybe a little bit about history. You know, because when we talk about Bible, even the most conscious or the most intelligent person go crazy, go stupid when it comes to the Bible. They can't put logic into that one, you know, when they read passages of laying a nod, taking on the wife, and several things. Jesus saying, I don't want to drink this cup, asking God, saying, God, I don't want to die. But they lose intelligence when it comes to those things. They just gloss over those particular things and don't get no reasoning. But why they don't find this one? Don't you think a group of people, because we know how religion can control people. So if you know all this history of these people from the past, don't you think that they can maybe manipulate something to control the people? Do you think it's in their purview, or they could do that? That could be a possibility. Come on now. Do you think that they could? Do they got the gumption enough, or want to be empowered so enough that they ain't had a thought like, you know what? If we take some of these words from the old school and massage it, because you know it wasn't no people named John back then and Paul back then. That's why I say this is where intelligent people that call themselves being smart, they gloss over stuff like that. Ain't no letter J in the Hebrew. I mean, they get dumb. They get dumb when it comes to that. It don't make no sense. So do you don't think that these people might use these words and some semblance of these words to manipulate people so they can control? Because we all know we got to agree that they control freaks. Now, come on. We got to believe and know through history it's about power and control, because you only got 13-14% of their population trying to control, I'm going to say it, the whole damn planet. So you know that there's a control mechanism going on with them that's embedded in them. So why wouldn't they use that same control to control people's spirituality?
And to take it to the next level, brother, the ones that have this idea of control have absolutely no compassion. So it doesn't bother them that in their planning for the world, people will die. It's the consequence of war, that you can go in and bomb, and I'll just put it in these terms. You can go in and bomb the hell out of somebody, right? Innocent women, innocent children die, and you don't feel any kind of way about that.
Come on, Vince. Come on.
Don't matter that lives have been lost. You know, it doesn't matter. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It doesn't matter that you will expose yourself to poisons and toxins. It doesn't matter that you could actually kill yourself. Doesn't matter.
Your prodigy, you could come. It don't matter.
Because there's an absence of a soul. But it's true. There's an absence of a soul. Because if the soul was there, the soul would not injure itself or anyone else.
Come on. That's right.
This is what we have to understand. And there are these types of beings that are in positions of control today.
No regard.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but folks, that's reality. You complain about what they're doing, they don't care. They could say no more snap for you, my brother, my sister, my Appalachian, whatever you want to call that person. They don't care about that. The things that they do injure you more than they injure us, because in some cases there are more of you than us within those realms. And you're willing to sacrifice. You'll send your sons off to war and let them get blown up by slingshots and spitballs.
Vincent, let me ask you a question. I asked the audience a question. What was one of the most hurtful things that maybe happened to you and your family? I mean, you know, outside, like you know, some tragedy that was brought from the outside came into your family, and your family experienced this trauma. Whatever.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
The U.S. government military lied to my mother, my brother, and my sister about my father. They told us that my father, or our father, was in Thailand. Our father was in Laos. Our father was involved in the distribution and dissemination of Agent Orange. Years later, My father transitioned because of that exposure.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then they made it known that it was a top secret mission after the fact. My father could not even write my mother a letter and tell her where he was.
Mm.
Then they came out with a program to provide compensation for folks who were affected by that. And we filed the applications for it.
Mm-hmm.
And they denied us 3 times. It took my mother 13 years to get the benefits that she should have gotten in the first year. And the only reason that it happened is because a white man took up the cause and fought the fight for her with the Veterans Administration. The same government that always talks about praise the veterans for what they do, the same government that puts veterans out on the street and are homeless and dealing with life's difficulties as a result of the PTSD and the MSD and all the other afflictions that they come back home with after they participate in wars.
Okay.
So if you can comprehend what it was like for me to visit my father in the hospital, laid up in a bed with a tube up his behind and inserted in his penis to drain the fluids that came off of his body as he was being fed poison intravenously. My father couldn't talk. The man that I looked up to more than anyone else on the planet because he assisted in bringing me into this world. I couldn't even have a conversation with my father in which he could express himself to me. So yeah, I can answer that question definitively.
Okay. I feel you on that, and I feel your pain with that, and you expressing that. So I say to you, and I hope people get my parallel on what I'm talking about. Would you wish that experience on anybody? If you went to HELL in your life, in your experience, and this is a part of your history, would you wish that on anybody? You wouldn't. So I'm saying that this parallel is, if you went through some bad times and some Holocaust, some genocide, would you wish that on anybody else? You should be the defender of that never happening to anybody else again. You're an advocate for that. This is what you do because you experienced that, and you know that how inhumane, how hurtful it was, the pain, the separation of families, and this, that, and other, the destruction, the lineage, all of that. You wouldn't wish that, that old expression that they say, I wouldn't wish that on my enemies, for that to happen. But you got situations like that happen. There's an example that I put in the book about the Iraqi war. And America was involved in that. The lowball figure was 100,000 citizens, women and children died in that conflict. But some say it was up to 1 million. Okay. Did we ever get an apology? Did the Iraqis ever get an apology for that? Is there one going on now in the place that we can't talk about? Because I heard that those leaders called them not human. Didn't say they was human beings. What? How could you say that, man? And you went through this experience yourself. So how could you be the place this among any other group of people yourselves? So something got to be wrong with your soul. You didn't learn the lesson. You know what I'm saying? Something wrong with you. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah. I'm gonna just put this out there, and then we can move towards concluding. And I didn't expect that we would get so.
No, not at all, folks. We said we was gonna wrap it up real quick and get on.
Yeah. But again, thanks to AI, that same AI was asked a question about what happened with the Twin Towers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all the things that I heard about what really happened were confirmed.
Okay. Through AI?
Yeah.
AI said it?
Yes. Yeah. It back in the day, the engineers looked at that situation. And these are things that I was sharing way back when.
Loose change, folks. Loose change.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this to say that I told you so, but I'm saying it to say that it confirmed what I suspected to be truth. It's always characterized as conspiracy theory.
That's right.
You know, so these were all conspiracy theories. Okay, well, now AI has told you what the truth was. And the truth was that the people who were alleged to have perished as a result of something hitting something didn't happen. Whoa. Those folks, based on what was said, were taken out before that happened.
Yes.
It was stated that there were explosives in those buildings. And the one that was most obvious was the third building that went down like this. That there was no plane involved in that. Okay.
You talking the one down the street or something?
Yeah. But there was insurance on that building.
Yeah, right.
And somebody got paid when that building went down. There were explosives in those two tall buildings.
That's right.
Okay. That's right. And the jet fuel was not capable of causing that type of damage.
That's right.
These are all things that have been substantiated and verified.
The 11-second free fall. Go ahead.
All of that. So, I mean, there are so many other things that I could share, but I started off talking about how we've been told lies that we believe to be true. And so there are still people who are in their feelings about that, who experienced it because they were there to witness the aftermath of the explosions that took place. But the picture that we have been receiving, the picture that was painted by those who put stuff out there, it said that the footage was CGI. How many million cell phones are in New York on a given day?
A whole bunch.
We had cell phones in 2001, did we not?
Yeah, absolutely.
And nobody looked up in the sky and got that? Huh? I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. You know what? You didn't get in. Didn't get no feed. No. You know what I can say? No regular community feed from any of that. No.
And not only that, they had surveillance cameras all over the city back then. You mean nothing?
That's right.
None of the thousands of cameras. There's only one view of something that happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, y'all, you can't believe everything they tell you.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
I'm serious, you know, learning about energy harvesting and the reality of that. And I know, again, I know folks are gushing over Michelle and Barack at the opening of the Presidential Center and all that flowery stuff, but they harvest our emotions on that level too. You know, just like they harvest your emotions when they put the Super Bowl on.
For sure.
I'm telling you, when I was in college, Lynn, and I was studying television, something in me said, bruh, you don't need to watch that. And I'm studying to be a broadcaster. based on information that I'm receiving as a student, I'm like, And so now it's 2026. I can't even tell you who won the Super Bowl. I'm
For
serious.
sure. I'm serious too.
You know,
I don't know.
but what I do realize is that those opportunities are opportunities for them to get in everybody's head and to give them what they want them to get.
Like in Rome, Vince, feed them bread and circumstance, a circus, feed them and entertain the masses of the people, and you got them.
Brother, if you found out what I found out about bread, you wouldn't be eating sandwiches anymore.
Yeah, that bromine, bro, something. Yeah, there's a few things in there.
Not only that, the purpose of bread.
Oh,
yeah, it goes back to religion.
Okay.
And we can, we can get into symbolism and all that other kind of stuff, but
right.
And again, no disrespect. My brother's a pastor, okay? So, when I say these things, I'm consciously aware of the fact that there may be conflict as a result of differences in perspective. But we engage in these rituals. And on the first Sunday of the month, we eat a body and we drink blood.
Oh, you talking about that? Yeah, for sure.
We don't know why. We just do it because we told that that's what we're supposed to do. Right? But we don't have a full understanding or comprehension of what it even means. We just know what they tell us about it, and we just do it with a certain level of complacency because we're trained not to ask questions. So as a young person and you have questions about things that just don't make sense to you because you're thinking critically and analytically, because you still have a certain level of spirituality based on the recent entrance of this physical body, right? You understand what I'm saying? You know, so naturally you're going to ask questions. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people who said, I was asking questions and they told me don't question God.
Yep, absolutely.
But you have a need to know. You want to know so that you can move forward with the right understanding, with the right comprehension of something.
People been put out of Bible class for asking questions, boss, all the time.
Right. But again, they're being told things that have been filtered and reinterpreted to fit an agenda. So when they want to get to the truth that leads to their empowerment, they're distracted and they're detoured and they're deterred. I can use both words. Here's a detour, go this way. But the detour don't lead to the place of understanding. The detour leads to a place of manipulation and control.
Come on, yeah, absolutely. Right. That's what it goes.
Yeah. That's what it is. So the bottom line is we just have to do the work. We can't be lazy about this stuff. You couldn't be lazy and put together a book that has 300 pages in it. You had to do the work.
Right.
You had a mission to communicate your thoughts and ideas. You couldn't do it without doing the work. You can't build muscle without doing some type of resistance training.
That's right.
You got to lift some weights, if nothing more than your body, to do some push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups and whatever else.
That's right.
But you're not going to see a transformation unless you do the work. So we got to do the work. We got to stop being lazy, and complacent and just accepting what we're being given.
That's right.
It's one thing to know something, it's another thing to do something. Because if you have the knowledge and you don't utilize the knowledge, then you perish.
What good are you?
What good?
What's good is that, man?
Right.
You know, yeah.
What good are you to your family?
Yes.
What good are you to your community? What good are you to yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, look, it ain't complicated. Get up and walk around the block. And if the conditions, because look, bruh, I get in my car and I drive to the nature center because I don't want to walk around Cleveland streets looking at garbage everywhere and houses that are falling down and bringing me down.
Right.
You know, last summer I was walking through the neighborhood and I'm seeing the same things over and over. And I'm like, okay, no disrespect, but I got to walk through Bratnall, but I've elevated from walking to Bratnall and looking at these houses that the rich folk have to walking through nature and looking at the houses that the birds have built that aren't attached to capitalism, greed, and hoarding resources.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm in total agreement with that.
Yes.
Sure.
Well,
yeah, brother. It's we do what we can. We still try to impart some of the things that we that is in our spirit and our soul to our people, to try to bring some so hopefully some people got some of it, someone's in agreement, maybe this is validation for other folks as well, but it all comes down to it. We it's going to take a certain type of mindset in order to lead the herd, because we know it is not the masses. It's never been the masses that made the change, but we need enough of the folks who at least understand it. Like you said, we can have that, but the ones that's doing something. And me personally, if the creator allows me to do it, my goal is if I get a chance to get something overseas, where guess what? Guess who's gonna be coming? I'm gonna be sending for y'all to come on over and check it out. Just to look, just to see, just to observe, or if you want to invest yourself, or if you want to come stay yourself. But I want to connect you and give you that opportunity to see something else, to see a different way of life. And don't get me wrong, Africa has its own challenges. It has its own things that it's going through as well. But it's a lot of things you can still get out of that than you won't get over here. And so and there's work to do over there. If you're a teacher, school teacher, tell them how them students is over there, bro. You can get some serious mileage out of them kids. Is attentive, they respectful, and you really feel like you're doing something, because them folks are trying to get some. They're trying to get some knowledge. They're trying to feed themselves. They're trying to get education so they can take care of their family. So some of the threads of our culture is still there. And I think that's what's missing out of the African American in this country, is that culture. So you really can get a lot of things out. So that's what that's our goal, and that's what I feel and think about.
Okay. Before we get out, I just want to acknowledge Tavoris X and Cinnamon Martinez, who has been with us for most of the broadcast. We really appreciate your comments. We appreciate you chiming in, and we appreciate you being here for us, because we do this for you. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you'll get notifications when we post content, and you won't have to miss out on what we're bringing to you on 360 Info Network. As always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself. Make today your absolute best day, everyone. Peace.
Peace.